You're tuning in to part 2 of my conversation with Peyton Smith from Mission Pizza Napolitana. In part 1, we talk about balance, and I think it's just so important to remind people that we need to take a break and that it does so much good for anything that we put our mind to. When we're too focused on one thing, sometimes we don't make the best decisions. At least that's me personally, and I think it might be you too, which is why I reshared it. In this episode, we're going to talk about Pizza Napolitana and Pizza OMAKASE. We talk about what it's like doing this kind of service, what is OMAKASE even, where he got the inspiration, how much he charges, all of that good stuff. This was one of my favorite episodes of 2021, and I think you're going to love hearing it if you haven't heard it already. And if you have, it's a freaking great recap. Enjoy. So speaking about dropping the pizza right in front of their face, I reached out to you because you do this, the way I envision it, intimate, very exclusive service called the PizzaKase. Am I describing that correctly, or am I completely off on that?
PizzaKase, yeah. So the idea is I'm not the biggest devotee of Japanese culture in the world by any long shot, but I appreciate the spirit that you find in Japanese culture, whether you call it shokunin or whether we talk about just the concept of craftsmanship for its own sake, irrespective of, the external reward. And I've been to Japan, been there once, been to Tokyo once, and have seen this firsthand in all manner of things: coffee, tea, music, bar, pizza, sushi, retail. And kind of my point of saying, when I'm sitting there just banging out pizzas and I'm feeling good about it, the guest is sort of irrelevant. That's kind of what I mean. And so I love the concept of omakase, which basically means you just let the chef do what he wants, right? Typically you might sit at a sushi counter and you get the omakase and you just back the fuck up and let him put the plate in front of you. That's the way I like to eat. If I don't absolutely trust the people that I'm trading money with, then I'm not sure why I'm there. It really furthers the narrative of the kind of restaurant that we want to be. I think being in the pizza space, and especially with pizza in our branding, that it can be tough for us to really feel like we can push the envelope. It's hard to find the balance. So I love the idea of this PizzaKase, and it basically just says to the guest, hey, listen, trust us, leave us alone, let us do our thing, and I promise you'll be more than satisfied. And so far, it's been great. I've had this idea for a little while, maybe a couple of months. I've been running this as a standard thing, both on our menu and guests can reserve. And so far, it's been awesome.
Can you describe just a night of service from the guest perspective, and maybe from yours, just from beginning to end? How does it look like?
For PizzaKase.
For PizzaKase.
The guest basically books. Typically, they book online. It's sort of becoming a bit of a thing. So people talk about it, they put it on their social or, whatever, they tell their friends. And so most people book online. We've had a couple people sort of randomly. It is on my menu, but I don't anticipate that's the likelihood. The only expectation the guest has is basically that they're going to get what we give them, right? I think the description of the PizzaKase tells the guest something to the effect of, right in the spirit of Japanese omakase, just let us smash you with pizza and we'll go from there. So it's cool. I have basically I've got a counter in front of me. I've got a long, maybe a 20-foot counter. I've got my saute and my garde-manger station, and the pizza station's right next to that at the end. So I basically reserve the 4 seats right in front of me, and those seats are reservable for PizzaKase. So the guest basically sits down, pretty basic standard, we greet them, make sure they have some beverages. We offer them a wine pairing, which I can put together really pretty quickly, either on the fly based on what I determine I want to do, or maybe I've done it in advance if there's really something that I think is interesting or fun or something I think is worth noting and doing in advance. I kind of like to do it on the fly, and then they just sit back. So we'll start with a small little just plate, sort of like a starter or a small little appetizer. It could be just the smallest little 3-bite salad, or maybe some roast veg, or could be anything. Just 2-3 bites of food to get started, just a little unexpected thing. They're expecting to get smashed with pizza. So if we can give them a couple of unexpected elements, that's good. Probably something that's either pretty seasonal from a producer we'd like to highlight, or just something fun that we're doing, typical kind of out of the box for pizzeria food. And then I'll just ask them, is there anything they don't eat, anything they're allergic to, anything that's got to send them to the hospital if I give it to them? And typically they'll say no, and then we just smoke them. We just feed them pizza until they don't want to eat pizza anymore. It's really perfect for like a deuce. So that's why I have those 4 seats in front of me. I can do a couple of deuces concurrently. Most people tap out probably around 3 pizzas, but certainly we've had guests that are just like, keep coming, right? And obviously if that's their spirit and if they're that into it, like, we're going to bring it just as hard for them. And the idea is that we just get to showcase like really whatever has us, like whatever we're excited about. So mostly that can be many things. It can be particular ingredients that we want to highlight. I do a lot of homages to pizzas I've eaten other places. I like to do that so that we can sort of show the guests like, okay, this is Neapolitan pizza, certainly that we're doing. I have my own way. If you want to eat, this is not also pizza that you're going to eat on Via Tribunale either. That pizza is very different than the pizza I'm baking right now. So why don't I make you Gino Sorbillo's pizza or Di Matteo's Portafolio, right? And I'll wrap it in paper and force you to eat it like a wallet right here at the table. Speaking of Tokyo, this pizza margherita from Savoy and Roppongi is like a very distinct thing that I'm very into. And so that would be like an idea of an homage pizza that we make. Pizza marinara al mare, like from Pizzeria Brandy, is something I've been doing recently that's just fucking delicious and bright and clean. And, you know, when you put a bunch of seafood on top of the pizza, people are like, they just don't know if it's going to be good. They're half skeptical. And so to surprise them is really interesting. We may do and have done like different styles within the realm of like things that you would eat properly. Naples pizza fritta, pizza montanara in various capacities, pizza ventaglio, open the skin, douse it with a little bit of oil and salt and pepper and oregano, fold it, and then open it up, you know, like a big book kind of. Stuff it with ham and cheese and dressed salad and cut it and stack it, you know, like a fucking Bennigan's triple club or something, and smash it with Parmigiano Reggiano. There's so many things that I see in pizza that are exciting to me and quite frankly just give me a fucking hard on. Things I've eaten, things that I've seen on the internet, like things that I want to reproduce. Like we fuck around with squares. Sometimes they're grandmas, sometimes they're big, huge Sicilians, sometimes they're somewhere in between. And so we'll fold that into the mix, literally anything and everything. And it's so much fun because the guest really has no idea what's happening. For us to do enough varieties of essentially the same thing to keep their interest is a challenge and is fun. For us to open their eyes and say, okay, yeah, this is Gino Sorbillo's pizza. This is Savoy's pizza. This is Pizza Montanara. Here's a square. Here's a thing that I saw that these guys do. Pick a place at Che Fico when they just smash it with parm and smash the cornicione with fresh grated Parmigiano Reggiano. And then when that's all said and done, then we go, okay, this is our pizza, right? So you've had this, we've had this, or we showed you all these different techniques. Now let's just show you like the ultimate expression of how I want to make pizza and how we want to make pizza, and let them have like as best as we can in a short window of time, like an hour and a half, give them a really, frankly, reasonably educated perspective on this is why we do this. This is why we do this. Like this pizza I had at Savoy in Tokyo has like this crazy, interesting story behind it. So I get to tell them a story. For me, there's always a story, right? So it's like if I'm making Gino Sorbillo's pizza, there's a story that's attached to that. If I'm making my story with certain local ingredients or something that's really exciting me seasonally, there's a story to tell about that, about where it comes from and who the producer is and why I think it's interesting. There's just so many layers to the interaction with the guests, and they're literally 2 feet in front of me. And like I'm handing them their pizza, I'm telling them everything about it, I'm pouring their wine for them, I'm telling them why the wine works with the pizza. It's just like so much fun. It's so interactive for us, like it's so interactive for the guest. And typically it's like home run. So much, like it just sort of popped up in my head one day and I said, oh, this makes perfect sense and let's do this. And yeah, ever since then it's been awesome. It just feels like it's like the best expression of what we do. and for the guests to trust us enough to go for it, right? I mean, this is like North Carolina. So we're like, you're going to pay $50 a head plus alcohol. Like these people are paying almost $100 a head when you include tax for us to give them pizza. And so in my world, like obligation is a positive word. And so for me, it's a real like beautiful obligation that we have now to really deliver on the trust that these people put in us. And the human component of it is awesome. And to see people be enthused or excited or to learn something or to come back at me with questions about, well, why is this like this? Or why did you do this? Or why did you bake this other pizza that way? And you baked this one this way? Why did you open this pizza up or handle it like this, but the other one you did it this way? It's just, I don't know what to tell you. It's awesome. It's awesome. And then at the end of the meal, like we'll give them another little unexpected bite, like a 2-bite dessert. And that's kind of it. Like that's the deal. So they'll sit down, probably takes them about 90 minutes. So it's a nice, like leisurely meal with a bunch of cool surprises and a fully engaged host. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I'm so happy about it.
It sounds too awesome. And I hate to just like crush this like artistic pursuit of yours, but like, how did you come up with the $50? And is this basically a, screw the money type of thing? Or do you actually make money off of something like this?
Oh, we can make good money. I mean, in my mind, the pricing is good for us. It's good for the guest. It's like one of those sweet spots where given what they receive, both the variety and the abundance and the interaction and the personal touch of it all, they absolutely get more than they pay for. There's a really good value for us as an operator. And it allows us obviously to do, if we want to go a little different direction with an ingredient profile that is a little different than maybe like a standard pizza margarita, it allows us the freedom to do that also. And then there's lots of wiggle room, right? So like I said, some people will eat 3 pizzas and they'll tap out, and somebody else will just say, let's go, let's go, let's go. And that's a lot of fun too. But also when it comes to pricing, I think there's lots of things. And for an event like this, for an experience like this, which is what we call it, like on top, we really want to prime the guest in a way that says, this is like, you may not know what to expect, but for $50 a head, plus your own math of tax, tip, and alcohol, right? You can at least prime yourself that this is not what you expect, right? Whatever you think you expect, whatever your idea of pizza is, whatever you've had previously, whatever you think about Neapolitan pizza or American pizza or Southeast USA pizza, doesn't matter. Like for $50 a head, I know I'm going to get something that's unique, and I want to set the bar high for the guest. I want to clear that bar by a mile. We're sort of laying down our own little gauntlet for ourselves, right? Like if we're going to charge people $50 plus, like we better bring our shit. And so that's a good personal challenge. But yeah, it just happens to be a good sweet spot that tells the story, allows us to engage in a narrative that's much more in the direction of the place we really want to be long term, which is trust us, right? Trust us, let us do our thing, and we'll all be rewarded. Yeah, primes the guest in the right way, holds us accountable in the right way, engages all parties to everyone's benefit. It works out really great. I'm so happy about it.
I would be on that all day, every day. Let me just, clarify that. I am too down to just fly over to North Carolina and take one of those 4 seats, probably 2 with my wife. But let me ask you this. Is it possible to run just that OMAKASE as a concept? Is there any thoughts about scaling this to more than 4 seats? What's your opinion on that?
The answer is absolutely. And the answer is yes. And the answer is with the appropriate planning. So initially, this actually started out as in normal times, we work 5 days a week. Okay. During COVID, we've stretched it back to we dialed it back to Wednesday through Saturday, 4 days a week. And we're still at 4 days a week. And until the 4 days that we have are super robust service days, I might be right, wrong. I might be an idiot. I might be a genius. I'm not opening a 5th day if we're not doing a really robust 4 days now, right? It's just the way it is. But then I said to myself, and my brother was in town, and we can have a few beers and we're feeling good, and we're just, sort of spitballing and brainstorming, and then he and I are thinking about, we're planning on doing something, and so I need to get his feet wet in an operational way. And I was like, we probably had 5 G&Ts at this point. I was like, let's open on Tuesday and we'll do a OMAKASE pizza, and we'll just fill up the counter and we'll just give people pizza, and you can serve them, and I'll make all the pizzas, and we'll fucking bang it out, and we can hang out, and it'll be fun. We'll have this like brother fucking hangout time. And that took a little too much planning for an off the cuff thing. And then I was like, okay, well shit, I can do this like live time, anytime. Let's just put this on the menu. And then, yes, so that was sort of the genesis of that. And then in terms of, can we do this more, or can we do it in a larger format, or can this be its own distinct format? The answer is yeah, but with caveat, right? Like all the time, absolutely not, because nothing would ever get done. I like my freedom to do interesting, funky things. If I'm going to make X dollars a week right now, whether it's 5 days or 4 days, I'm going to choose 4 days and maybe use that 5th day if I want to do something funky and interesting. Like, why don't I do 2 pizza kase seatings, right? On a Tuesday night. I got 10 people, so I'll do 20 people, and it'll be me and one person. It'll be super intimate, turn all the lights off, just all candle light, ambient oven light, and take home $100 a head on 20 covers, and we'll be there for 4 hours, and we'll have a great, like, fun, intimate, unique experience. And so the thing for me is like, how can we continue to stretch our legs? How can we continue to drive this bigger, broader narrative of what we really are, which is anything but a pizzeria? I don't mean that to sound pejorative, because there's nothing pejorative about pizzeria. And then also, like, I don't know, in my community is really, it's kind of small, like normal, like medium-sized city small, right? I don't know, it's like the 4th biggest city in North Carolina. It's not very big, like say 200,000 people, but it's pretty conservative in the way people consume. They're pretty conservative. People tend to want things the way they want them, rather than praise excellence or individualism or a unique perspective. And so for my own purposes, for having to show up every day, like, I want to do it my way. Also, I want to show to people in my community, to people who are afraid that they can't do it their way, that it'll never work, that, we have to sell fucking chicken Caesar salad to everyone. There's a lot of people that want to do their thing, and they're afraid to do it because they've never seen anyone do it. And I'm one of the few people in my community that does it that way. Like, can we be a role model for other people? And so the more we can stretch the boundaries a little bit, the more we can be unexpected to people, the more we can open people's perspective and minds. And again, just say, look, trust us or don't. Like, we'll find our people. Yeah, like, there's an immediate personal benefit to me, but there's also a larger community benefit that's really important to me, which is like, if you're prepared, if you're diligent, if you know how to work, if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and be attentive and execute, like, you can do your thing. If we can get people with frequency to spend basically $100 for a fucking pizza meal in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, you can do your thing. You can sell your tamale. You can sell your ramen. You can sell your bao. You can do your thing. And so that's important to me too. And so the more we do this, like, unusual or different or novel sort of programming that we've done, and we have a history of doing this, the more we can show people, like, yeah, you can do this on your terms. You don't have to just trade money on someone else's terms.
I love how creative this, type of service is, how it sticks true to who you are and not having to sell yourself short by just relying on Caesar salad sales. And I love how it ultimately I love how it ultimately goes back to just building that fan base of yours. That is so important. It's like, you are going to be known as the pizza soccer team that can kick a goal from across the field, which is also known as the pizza kase. It's like your trick. It's your what's the word? Essentially, you have this special way of presenting pizza that your fans will gravitate towards, will love you for, and that is so cool. The question is, are you okay with other people taking that idea and running with it too? Is this something that you've trademarked or copyrighted at all?
To be honest with you, I probably will trademark it. We're in the process of looking into that right now because at this point, I've got to trademark a few other things. I'm working on this business entity with my brother, and so we need to trademark some things. But it all depends. You know what I mean? If I was in the business of being like my own trademark cop, if I indeed trademark this thing, then I probably would exercise some discretion. If I thought someone was doing it with the right kind of spirit, then I would say go for it, right? But as soon as someone bullshits their way into this, right, with the wrong intent or ill-informed, then I might say, hey, pal, you need to chill. But yeah, I was actually talking to my brother just the other day. I need to trademark this thing, so.
I think you got something on your hands there, and it seems very special. I think the way that you execute it seems special, and I agree that you should be a cop if people are, bringing down that pizza-kase, the greatness of it all.
It's fun. It's so much fun. It's so awesome.
Very cool. I have 2 questions that I normally end with. What is one mistake that people can avoid in the pizza business?
This was very central to me creating my business. It was very important that, for me at least, that I could do something that was very personal, but also had to be business. I had to be sound from a business standpoint. And I think one of the pitfalls in pizza is that as a broad category, it's a commodity space. It just is. Whether it's the big chains, whether it's Applebee's probably has something they call pizza or flatbread on their menu. Every gas station, convenience store, concession stand. Like, the thing that I was always fearful of was that it just so happens that the way I frame my business and my belief in using the best things I can get a hold of, that just sort of jives with me personally, and people can see things however they want to see them. From an independent operator's standpoint, I think if you're going to go compete in a commodity world and sell commodity products, you're fucked. You have no chance because you're competing against monsters, like monster organizations. So the people that I know, that I see, that I interact with, that are really smoking it in the pizza space are doing it their way. They're doing it with distinction, whether it's their point of view, whether there's their expression on the plate, whether it's the quality and the variety and the novelty of ingredients they use. I just got a 1-star Google review, literally 2 days ago, and the review says, everything on the menu's in Italian. How about some English? Well, let's not even talk about how if he said that about a Chinese or a Mexican or an African restaurant, how incredibly fucking racist that is. Let's forget about that. But let's just consider, if I want to compete, right? If I want to meet this guy on his playing field, I'm fucked. And when you invest your time and your energy and your money and you feel like your entire life is at risk if you fuck it up, emotionally, right? Again, in my scarcity brain, I get it. I get why you would want to buy the cheapest thing you could buy and compete on price, but you're fucked. You're fucked. Panera will smoke you. Domino's will smoke you. Applebee's will smoke you. You're going to lose at every time. So we have to be distinct. You have to offer something unique. You have to offer a perspective of real integrity and value. Because if it's just convenience, right, and price, you're always going to lose until your name is Bezos. And that's not going to fucking happen. I had a woman, my first year I was open, I had a woman and she was really sweet. And I really appreciated where she was coming from. She was sort of like, she had some feedback for me and she was getting like in the like sort of mom zone, right? And to give you some context, like she and her husband, I learned, had some sort of a franchise business that failed, right? And just recently, and she came into my pizzeria and she was trying to offer her feedback. I said, well, just come meet me. I'd love to talk to you about it, right? I've been open for 6 months. I'd love to talk to you about it. And look, my pizza is so much better than it was in our first 6 months. Also, in our first 6 months, I was really proud of what we were doing, right? And this woman basically said, after all was said and done, she kept commenting on the price. And so I said to her, well, it sounds like you just don't value what was on the plate. because price means many things to many people, right? But what we're talking about is value. She kept talking about price. And I said, how little would I have to charge you for you to think it tastes good? If I charge you $5, would you think it tastes good? Would you think it wasn't burnt? Would you not freak out about the crust? Well, she doesn't have an answer for that. No one has an answer for that, right? And so I don't know where that came from in the moment, but ultimately it just comes from this idea of like, yeah, man, price is not irrelevant, but also if you, as a pizza operator in the world, as much as we're very much into this artisanal people, a lot of people like me and a lot of people that inspired me, a lot that I know, a lot that I don't know, who are taking this like really hyper-personal pizza thing into the world, we're still vastly outnumbered by cheap multinational convenience and robots and all kinds of other things. If you want to go compete in that space, you can do whatever you want. But if you ask my opinion, I would say be distinct. Even if you want to sell a cheap bar pie and like Schlitz malt liquor or whatever, and that's your shtick, do it with distinction. Don't compete on a Goliath's turf would be my long-winded answer to a prospective pizza operator.
I normally offer my 2 cents after this, but like I have nothing else to add. Thank you for sharing that. And what do you want to leave the audience with today?
There's a lot of great pizza in the world. And if you look, you'll find it. My life is remarkably centered around all things pizza in many different ways. And I know not everyone is really that into pizza, but what I found is pizza operators are remarkably sincere, earnest people doing the best they can with something valuable to say. You know, if the choice is like order from this mom and pop that you don't know about versus, you know, the devil that you know that brings it to your door, I would just say it's real simple, right? It'll cost you $15 to figure out if you like it or not. If you prefer the other guy, that's fine. No big deal. But if you end up preferring the guy down the street, right, then think of all the ancillary benefits that puts out in the world for a person wanting to do their thing, to support a variety of people in the local economy, right, to make their lives work, right, for some family to send their kids to school or to put food on their table or just to put like real honest work in the world. I mean, this pizza people literally put their hands in their work every day. And so, yeah, the pizza world's a great place full of really beautiful characters and really like inspired, loving, warm people. And they're everywhere, even in like the smallest pockets of America if you go find them.
What a great way to end. Peyton, thank you so much for taking the time to educate me. I learned.
This was fun, man.
Good, because me and my team had a blast. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to meet you guys. I have such a good batting average with pizza people. So you guys just add to the average. Thank you.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for making the time for us.
Cool, man. See you guys. I'm out. See ya. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you liked it. Please do me one quick favor and help me grow the show. The best way you can do that is by sharing this episode to a friend, to another pizza lover, or to your Instagram. If you do that, tag me and Peyton. Links to our Instagram handles will be in the show notes. Also, if you haven't done so already, leave a review for the show. It'll help so much when people are scrolling through their podcast layers and they're like, oh, lots of reviews? Must be good dough. And finally, if you're not already following the show or subscribed to it, go ahead and click that follow/subscribe button. That way you don't miss an episode of the show. I appreciate you. I love you. Till next time. Peace.